Well, just maybe a little bit fortunate on the last visit, Jakson, when he went for a ball and got lucky. But the red that's close to the left corner is the thing that's giving both players a few problems. I don't want to play any shot which leaves that red on. That is a terrific shot. I'm sure he played it with a little bit of side, almost a swerve. Yeah, let's have a look at this again. Well, what a shot this was. I mean, to judge that as he did takes some doing. He only just skimmed past the blue ball on the way through to it.
He turned pro in 2019. He's still only 22 years of age, Jakson Page. He's currently ranked at 51, his highest 46 earlier this year. And his best in ranking events, 6 last 16 appearances, including the one Neil mentioned at the World Championship, when he played quite brilliantly actually against Barry Hawkins. He finished that match with 2 big centuries and then got schooled by the man who has nurtured the early stages of his career, Mark Williams, who describes him as an extra son, but he showed him no mercy that day. Made 5 centuries, 6 in fact, I think, and crushed him 13-3, but we've certainly seen flashes of his potential as a professional.
I think the match I recall was when he played in last year's Northern Ireland Open in Belfast, and he had played brilliantly against John Higgins, but somehow Higgins got over the line and beat him. Higgins had to pull up all his resources and made a couple of big clearances, but I think he proved what he could do. He's just a little bit inconsistent, but he can really play.
One. 22.
So playing into the bunch here. I think he played it well. He's all right, I think. Red to the right corner, to the right one of the 2 close together.
28.
What a chance he's created for himself here.
$34.
Philip mentioned that ranking of 51, which has been as high as 46. You just feel that, you know, there's a top 32 player, probably a top 16 player in there somewhere on ability. Doesn't mean he'll ever get there, or it's hard to predict how far anyone's career could go.
40.
But he's an extremely dangerous player. He's got a few rough edges to his game, but
41.
when he's in, he looks really good like this.
$47. 48. 54. 55.
So there'll be 47 in front, having potted this pink. And then it's a question of just potting a red. I mean, red colour red absolutely guarantees O'Sullivan won't get out of his chair.
52.
And what a good response to the early blitz from O'Sullivan. That could have been a little intimidating, but Page backs his own ability, and what a brilliant initial red, because it wasn't an easy swerve, was it, to control the cue ball to pot the red.
68.
I think the expression untapped potential is
69.
apt for this Jakson Page. Now, he is still a young player, of that we know. Been around all those years, but there's still a lot to work on. And he's in amongst good players, good people around him.
75.
So there's no reason he couldn't go a lot further in this game, because he's pretty good to watch from a Welsh player going back a long time. Just the way he pots balls and seems to play with a bit of carefree abandon. You know, it's nice to see a player doing that.
Became the 20th Welshman to play at the Crucible when he qualified last year.
87.
And this has been special. Ronnie O'Sullivan complimented him ahead of this match, speaking to Alan McManus, saying that he reminded him of Luca Brissell with the way he cues, the way he goes for his shots.
96.
Well, the Luca Brissell comparisons now are even better, aren't they? Now that he's world champion, they mean more.
Yes, and that was a victory at the Crucible which rather came out of left field, given that Brissell had never won a match there previously, so who knows. In the meantime, that was a fantastic break from Jakson Page. What a fantastic entertainment for this Brentwood crowd. It's 1 frame all. Just 22.5 minutes of playing time so far, and already 1 frame apiece.
Super shot from O'Sullivan. Very controlled long pot. Cue ball just quite measured, bringing it down towards the bulk colours, and not going into bulk. He fancied getting the pot, you see, I think, which he did.
Five. Six.
Well, this is where the sky's the limit with O'Sullivan, with the reds like this. He wants to get the 2 reds either side of the black ball into open play by potting them, bring the black out, clearing the decks for it. But as you can see, everything's lined up quite nicely here.
Fourteen. $21. 22. 29. 30.
Well, again, the angle he has, he could just screw into the side of the bunch, but he has reds in play anyhow. He may play on one. Played a very delicate shot, and it's okay. It's more than okay. A choice of reds to the left corner.
37.
So that was a controlled split, knowing that there were other options had the split not quite gone to plan.
38. 45. 46.
It's hard to believe that he wouldn't go on and win the frame again here. I mean, obviously anything can be missed, but he's looking good. Frame's only 3.5 minutes old, and he's quite a way into winning it.
51.
He's not missed a ball yet of consequence anyway. This one at the end of the first frame after he'd made the century. That's it.
Sullivan playing into an area where he had more than one red he could have landed on, which is the art of break building. You can never absolutely be sure of putting the ball on a certain area.
58.
It's going to sound a sixpence, but I'm not sure everyone would know that expression, the younger watchers, but it means very precise position anyway.
$65.
So anything now he needs, there's another frame gone. Goodness, we've 4 minutes 45 seconds we've got on the clock, and it's over this frame. These two are actually racing around, aren't they?
71.
Making an incredibly difficult game look
72.
stupidly easy, but what entertainment.
Well, that'll do. That'll do. It just nudged it.
80.
I mean, there's never been a snooker player like O'Sullivan break building. I mean, if there is to be one, because you can never really say never, I'd like to see that person play. But it's just
86.
the way that he compiles breaks, the ease in which he goes about it. And this has been a fairly
88.
straightforward break by his standards, because his cue ball's been on the next ball perfectly. But there are other times when he has to sort of bring up shots into play that are a little bit unconventional
95.
early in a break very often. But you know, seeing him with full cry like this, terrific stuff. And looks like the centuries are going to keep coming.
On his first ranking event of a record-breaking 39 when he was still only 17, the UK Championship in 1993, and 30 years on, no discernible reduction in ability.
103.
His longevity is extraordinary.
$109.
3 frames, 3 centuries, and not even half an hour. Hadn't won a match at the English Open in his 4 previous appearances before his victory over Doherty in qualifying. But he has qualified for the upcoming Wuhan Open, which of course starts here on Eurosport on Monday, the first ranking event in China since COVID, and November's International Championships. Another cracking long pot from O'Sullivan.
Well, if the long pots are going to go in, then he is going to be, well, irresistible force, because there was something you would say that he does well, but not necessarily the best of anybody. It's the long game. I mean, you can think of players who might be more consistent, but today they've all gone in, I think. Certainly the ones I've seen, 3 from 3, and they've all been good ones at range. So that's O'Sullivan firing on all cylinders.
He's still not missed a ball of consequence either. Ran out of position just now, played safe. Snookered himself at the back end of his second century in frame 3.
15.
So the only ball that has gone astray was the first frame as he switches to left-handed. After after the century was completed. It's been immaculate from O'Sullivan so far.
21.
I think with this game, you could be playing O'Sullivan thinking, well, how on can I possibly beat this player playing like this? And the answer is that hardly anyone could. But, you know, it's not an easy game, and nobody's going to play to this level all the time, even the greats. Because in every
29.
facet of his game, he's operational today, seems to me. Probably, if he was to win, he'd probably speak to Alan and say none of it was any good, but I don't think that would be quite how I saw it. Even that shot, exactly where he wanted the cue ball to, the millimetre to pop that red.
35.
For once, screwing around the angles, it's not worked out. So does he again try and continue the break, or again does he say enough's enough? For now, his attentions are on somebody daring to move in the arena.
Rather withering glance there from O'Sullivan, but he's going for this blue by the looks of it. Never in doubt, right in the middle.
What a great shot that was, Philip. He really got the bite on the cue and send it back. The natural angle was screwing it towards the right middle. So this frame, you know, the balls have not run quite so kindly, but he still isn't missing any of them. Occasionally just drifting out of position somewhat, that's all. This is a tough one. This could be missed.
Oh, goodness me. Well, again, positionally not great. He's having to work very hard in this break, but he's still not missed one.
No, he had to force that, and the accuracy can sometimes go out of the window. So the frame mathematically isn't won. You know, there's 67 on. Whether Jakson Page is feeling chipper about the chance of clearing at the end of that onslaught, I'm not sure.
That's the equation, 67 remaining, 61 the deficit.
He's played that well. That's a good safety shot. That's covered up all the reds to the left side. It might be that he can just get through to one. Oh, he can get through to this one. It's tough still. Wow, even that's gone in. This is as well as I've seen him pot a long distance for quite a long time.
Some disbelieving head shaking in the crowd at the quality of O'Sullivan snooker so far.
He gave someone a look, didn't he, for coming either in or out. But of course, if you are arriving late, you're going to do well to catch this match, because it's 3-1 and we haven't been going any time. This is another frame. It's only 9 minutes old.
16.
So they're absolutely flying through the frames. He's missed one. It wasn't in live play, and he's all over Jakson Page.
Yes, in terms of balls that matter, O'Sullivan remains at 100% so far, and that's not really beatable, is it? As he moves to within a frame of victory at 3 frames to 1.
Foul.
Yeah, but any shot from in the jaws of the pocket is always going to be a tough one. Does the black go? That's the interesting point. You can see even from the top angle here. Can we see whether that black goes? And if it is, O'Sullivan might pop this one and play on it. I wonder how much room there is through to that black. Yeah, I think that will go. He would want to be right behind it. deciding that he wouldn't play on it and take the risk. Either way, he was going to be on something once the red drops.
Five.
Well, again, he wouldn't be sure that Jakson Page will ever come back to the table in this match, because this is a typical O'Sullivan break here, potentially. 13. Just a little nudge or two around the black spot, get the reds away from the black. And it could be that Jakson Page is bowing out here. Nothing is assured, but with these little cannons he's playing, if it does happen, it might happen very soon.
20. 21. 28. 29.
Well, look at the spread of those reds in the middle of the table. I mean, really, it is almost like a little practice session pre-match for O'Sullivan, this.
36. 37.
Philip mentioned that English Open he won, where he played superbly in the final against Karen Wilson,
44.
which was up in Barnsley going back. And that's the best I've ever seen him play in home nations or
45.
in most other places. But today, in these short forms, I don't think I've seen him play better in one of these best-of-7 early rounds than this. He's been formidable in all departments, and when there hasn't been a pot, he's played a pretty significant safety shot.
He only missed 6 balls in live play in 11 frames in that final. Made 4 centuries.
52.
And he's only missed a couple today. He looks razor sharp. You wouldn't think this is a player who opted not to play in the first 3 ranking events of the season. Of course, he did win in Shanghai.
Yeah, Shanghai, that's his sort of a stamping ground these days, isn't it, those events. This very much is not to his liking as much, despite being in Essex, hurly-burly of all these tables. But nothing has stopped him today.
Match ball. This match has been going less than 47 minutes, and it's already over as a contest.
69.
Jakson Page produced a brilliant century of his own, 1 or 2 errors, but he's not done a huge amount wrong. O'Sullivan has just blitzed him.
Well, he's been superb, and Jakson will hopefully learn from this, but what he will learn is that if he didn't already know it, Ronnie O'Sullivan is the greatest to ever pick up a snooker cue. And that is what most people already know, and he just demonstrated it to the crowd. And I think it's nice because there's a big crowd here in Essex today, in Brentwood. They've all come to see this man, and he's on his best behaviour out there, and he's put on a show for them, and it's nice to see.
And now chasing century number 3 for the cherry on the cake.
'92.
He's got it. Just the black required. What a display.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely marvellous stuff.
The crowd are loving it. Jakson Page won't be, but what can you do when O'Sullivan is at the top of his game? Sit, watch and admire.
I mean, we've had 5 frames of which we've seen 4 centuries, and it is worth saying that Jakson Page, in the frame he won, got in and made a beautiful century. He made it quickly enough as well, but well, the trouble with snooker is you can only sit there and suffer, or in this case perhaps admire what he's watching
130
in the same way the crowd would, but it's not very nice when it's against you. Well,
117.
it's I think not everyone would have thought O'Sullivan could win this week, but the way he's playing here, of course he can.
Fergal O'Brien or Si Jai Wee in the firing line next in round 3. It's been a scintillating performance from the 7-times world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan. 3 centuries and victory in well under 50 minutes against Jakson Page, who made 100 of his own, but O'Sullivan was unstoppable. He wins by 4 frames to 1. He's into round 3 in Brentwood.